my wife worked at a job, and I'd been at my job like 15 years, so I had like 3 weeks, 4 weeks vacation, and so this one week that I had off, I think it was around the holidays that she had to work. I made her breakfast, got her ready for work, and then anyway, I decided to go back to sleep. And before I went to sleep, I said, God, I wanna be with you in heaven today, and I meant in spirit, right before I went to sleep, and so anyway, I went to sleep, and I have to preface this. At this point in my life, I was much closer to God. We went to a church that was like 5 hours long, and I was praying and studying the Bible like many hours a week. And so I believe when we do that, when we draw closer to God, He draws closer to us, and we're allowed to have more experiences by drawing closer to Him. And the world's so crazy right now; it's a lot of people falling away from God and faith and just sanity. But anyway, so before I went back to sleep that day, I said, God, I want to be with you in heaven. And so the next thing I remember after falling asleep was I was walking. Well, it's not walking. When you're in spirit, you kind of like glide. It's hard to explain, but I was beside an angel, and I think it was my guardian angel because I recognized he's like black wavy hair. I don't know what his face looks like, but I'd seen him before in a dream, and he was like 10 feet tall, and he said something to me, and there's a verse in the Bible, but he had said something like, there are those who lead certain number, 50, 20, or 100, but he had said, you look like one to lead 100. Well, it ended up being prophetic, and I'm not going to go into that, but it was wild. But this was the same angel in this occurrence that I remember in that dream. So anyway, it was weird as I was beside him, and we were in a city. It was all white. The streets were white. The buildings were white. Everything was like really, really clean. And I was moving beside him. He was on my left side. And the thing that kind of freaked me out is when I remember seeing him the first time, he seemed like he was 10 feet tall. And as I was having this experience, I was looking at him like shoulder to shoulder, or we were like shoulder to shoulder, and I never realized that we don't know how big our souls are, which is kind of weird. I would have never even thought about this until that happened, but I was as tall as he was here in this place. So anyways, we're moving along the main street. He pointed to the right, and there was a door in this building, so I moved into the door, and in front of the door, or past the door, as he moved into the room, there was a long table. On the left side of the table, there seemed to be like an opening between the wall and the table, and so I went to move to the left side of the wall around the table, and then kind of in front of the table to the center. And this force, it was very gentle, but this force, it grabbed a hold of my essence, and it moved me back around the side of the table and to the front of the table and to the right. And it deposited me on the right side of the table, and a voice from above said, "This is your place." And I looked down on the table, and there's like a chalice. It was like a cup. And there's an interesting study if you do a Bible study on cups and chalices throughout the entirety of the Bible. But anyway, so after being placed there, I looked in front of me, and there was these gold lights, and I believe there was 3 of them. There may have been more, but there's 3 that I remember. And so it was almost like looking into the sun, these 3 golden lights. And so the one that was like right in front of me, I really concentrated. I really had to focus on looking into the center of the light. And I saw an angel, and I actually saw his face. And you had to really look through the aura to get to the center. And this angel was so perfect looking. And he had like gold and copper ringlets, short hair, and the perfect complexion. And he had these piercing brown eyes. And he looked so angry at me. And it just totally freaked me out because I always thought angels would be more friendly. But I realized then that they have free will just like we do. And they're not perfect. And they have feelings. And the look that he had, it was almost like, what is he doing here? Or why is he here? What is he doing? And he made me feel so dirty because they're so perfect. And and they look so. I mean, I'm not saying they're perfect, but there are no blemishes, and it was just how perfect they look is just, it's amazing. So anyway, when he glared at me with that look in his eyes, he made me feel dirty, and I looked down, and I felt like a shame, and I felt dirty, and as I looked down, this voice from above said, "You have every right to be here, as much as they, for you share in common with them the love of God." And so that made me feel better. And so then I looked back up, and from the right, this piece of burning meat came into the room, and there was a huge celebration, and something went up and something went down, and then I was taken out of there in the instant of a second, in a twinkling of an eye. I was taken out of there, and anyway, that was kind of amazing, and it was eye-opening to realize that angels have choices and free will just like we do, and I thought differently of them before that incident.